So I'm not sure if it's done. There it is. Hey, welcome back to Bankrupt Overland. We are back in our garages.
Yep.
You're in your garage.
Yeah, you're the only one in your garage.
Yeah.
This is true. This is true. Back here with the regulars. How is everyone doing tonight?
What's up, man? Doing
Hey,
well.
man, what's happening? Doing good.
Just hanging. We're doing our first YouTube live as well, which is a little different. But we had some folks that were reaching out saying they wanted to check out what we were looking at when we just went off on our random tangents and started checking stuff out. And for tonight, we'll be doing a little bit of that, talking about Midland radios. They sent me out to Utah with a pair of handhelds to try out, test out, put them through their paces. So we did that, and we're going to check out some other radios, talk all things comms. Before we get into that, as usual, was there anything fun that went on? I think I saw someone camping this weekend, didn't I?
Yeah, that was definitely not me.
Did I go camping?
No one went camping.
I didn't.
No,
I
yeah,
didn't go
you would.
camping.
Maybe it was an older picture that got shared out or something.
I did go camping, but I don't know if we talked about it in the last episode or not.
Oh,
Has
where'd
it
you
already
go?
been a
To
week?
the Teleco?
Teleco, yeah. I went to Teleco. So I think
yeah.
I think maybe we didn't even talk about it.
Yeah. What'd you do up there? Just hang out?
So I got invited to go up to Teleco Plains with one of my buddies that lives up on the mountain. He's got an 80 and a Patriot X2 camper. So
Ooh,
he
those are
invited me to go
nice.
out. Yeah, that thing's awesome.
Those are really
There's
nice.
so much shelter on it, and
Yeah.
it's like the Four Seasons when you go into that thing. It's got like a fireplace
Yeah.
with the batwing awning, and it's like you could be as hot as you want in there. It's
Yeah.
really sweet.
That's awesome.
Like a 270 awning with walls that go all the way down to the ground. So you
Yeah.
kind of walk in and it wraps all the way around the whole vehicle,
That's nice.
which is pretty cool.
All the way around the vehicle. So it's 270.
Yeah, it goes
So
all the way.
that's like
Yeah, it covers
side
over
of
the
the
back.
vehicle and the back profile as well.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So that's on the trailer. So it kind of swings out and you get full coverage with that thing. It's pretty sweet. He's got
Wow.
a kitchen. He's got a sink that like turns on and off with like a drain, and it's pretty sweet. It's a good
That's
setup.
nice. That's
Yeah.
nice.
They're
I,
like comparable to like the turtlebacks, right? Like in terms of like function, maybe not necessarily form, but
So the Patriot X2, it's not a rooftop tent.
right.
It's an actual body. So like you actually walk into the trailer and then climb up on your bunk. So it's like the tent is built into the trailer.
Oh,
It's-
interesting.
It's kind of like, yeah, you walk in, you step in. It's got a really nice ladder up to the bunk. And
Wow,
yeah,
so it's
it's-
nothing like the turtlebacks then.
yeah, it's nothing like that at all. It's kind of
Okay,
a
cool.
proprietary design.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool. So he invited me to go up to Teleco Plains. I loaded up my kids and my home built trailer, went out to Teleco Plains for the weekend and got everything set up. I mean, we had winch zip lines for the kids. We had
I saw that. That was amazing.
we had, like-
Awesome.
we had like a cornhole game. We had hammocks. I think it was Saturday night. I played a movie for the whole campground on the side of the trailer. So I hooked up my new huge speaker, put the projector out, and
Did you upgrade? The
yeah.
Every year he gets one bigger and bigger until
Yeah.
he hits Randall's
This one's-
size.
He's gonna have a big Bose out there.
No.
It's the in-between size of Randall's and like my old one. So it's pushing it. It's getting there.
Yeah.
Got like flashing lights on it and stuff too. So it's close.
It's almost Randall's.
Does it give the ambient light with a movie at night?
Kind of, yeah. So we had that set up and had the kids. We were with like 6 or so kids. So I was like, hey, kids, go grab all the kids in the campground and tell them there's going to be a movie. So they all came running over, and like I have a picture of them all like lined up, and we were like, I think we were playing Moana or something,
Nice.
because I didn't want to just fight with the kids over which movie to choose. But yeah, we ended up playing Moana, and then I made marshmallows for all the kids. So it was pretty cool. I had like
Awesome.
the table on the side of the trailer set up with like a
Yeah.
s'more station. So I was like handing all the kids the sticks. It was a pretty sick
Oh,
setup.
man.
So yeah, it worked really well. No off-roading, just just some gravel roads to get to the campsite.
Sure.
Because it was kind of a secluded first come, first serve. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, it worked great. Trailer worked good. No leaks. Used the diesel heater both nights and
Nice.
stayed nice and warm.
That's what's up.
Nice. So on those, we've talked about this a little bit, but when you traveled out there, how did you just take your extra diesel with you? I'm about to dig into this diesel heater in the off season, and I'm trying to figure out if I do an external diesel tank and I just run a fuel line into it, because I'm trying to set it up on my ladder, if that makes sense. Like I'll have the diesel heater on the back of the ladder all the time, and then I could have like maybe a diesel roto packs on the other side. And just run a line to it, and then
like
I don't have to have diesel
into
inside.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's a guy, I think Chasin Point. Is he a GX guy on Instagram? I think there's a guy named Chasin Point. And he has a GX and he just did that. He built it into like a AluCAD box mounted on the side. So it was just hard mounted to the outside of his rig all times in a sealed box. And like the fuel tank, I think it was like a Rotopack style. It was really cool. But
that's nifty.
I have mine in that little case, the Harbor Freight case, just like you, with the 1 gallon tank. Yeah. I did bring a 1 gallon gas can of diesel. I like to use diesel to like light the fires and stuff at camp. Because it doesn't just explode in your face. So it's kind of like a kerosene. Yeah. I like to use it for that. And then I can use it in the diesel heater. So
always got to have 2 uses in overlanding. It's important.
Yeah.
And camping.
And you always have to have a backup too. So I always bring a backup with me. So I bring my buddy heater that I can plug into my 11 gallon tank. So I always have that as a backup just in case it's, 30 degrees outside and it's a mere 58 in the trailer and I'm cold. No, but when it was snowing, I did bring an extra source just because, we don't have really thick bags or anything. Our sleeping bags are like maybe 40 degree bags, 50 degree bags.
They're rated for California.
Weather. Exactly. Rated for desert weather. So I don't have bags that actually go down that well. So I'll just bring back up with the kids, then don't have to worry about it.
That's smart.
It is smart.
Man.
Did you do anything to the cruiser lately? Or has it just been doing work?
So I did
do some stuff to the cruiser.
Yeah, I did do some stuff to the cruiser. So I ended up buying a Renogy battery shunt to monitor my second battery. So I ended up mounting that up on the dash and ran the shunt and everything underneath the hood to the second battery. So now I can measure the amps in and out of the second battery, and I can see what the voltage is going to that battery while I'm driving and stuff. So that's kind of cool. And then I did some wire management cleanup underneath the hood too while I was in there, because I had some cables running from left to right to be able to jump start myself, which I ended up taking out because I got a new jumper pack and it's kind of, I don't really need it.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario is I could, use my jumper cables and jump from one to the other if I really needed to, but I think I'll be fine. So yeah, I got that mounted, and it's been cool to kind of monitor all of the ins and outs. And also another thing that I saw too was I've been looking into getting a bigger alternator for the cruiser because I only have an 80 amp and my DC to DC charger pulls 25 amps. So that leaves 60 amps for the vehicle and everything else.
Yeah.
But what I realized was my headlights are HIDs, so they're low wattage. I have air conditioning, and I don't have a crazy stereo or anything. So, doing some math, it was like there's about 20 extra amps left over still if I'm not using anything crazy like a light bar or whatever. So
or a winch or something,
or a winch or something like that. So I'm like, I'm running the cusp of actually needing it because I do have the ability to charge with solar, and it's, you got to spend an extra couple $100 when you have a perfectly working good alternator that I have. So I think I'm not going to upgrade that down the line.
Well, and your DC-DC charger shouldn't pull a constant 25 amps, right? Only in the bulk charge phase, correct. It should be dumping that amperage. Once it gets to like the float or the maintenance phase of the charging profile, you should be pulling
exactly
hardly anything at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple amps and 4. Yeah. Float.
Once it's topped off, it's, maybe 5 amps or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the panel on the roof, half of that could be coming from the solar because it's a green priority. It's a solar priority. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
it'll be exciting to see what you do with the lithium. I really am excited to see if you go that route. I'm
back and forth about, building my own and buying a cheaper, off brand that's been rated really well.
Sure.
So for the same price, you can get double the capacity if you build it yourself.
Yeah.
So you can get about 280 amp hours for about $650. So it's a lot of power.
Yeah.
But that could be on another episode.
Down. Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll make another lithium based episode.
Oh man.
We got other things for this one.
Batteries V2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to go back and redo some of those as you live with it for a little while,
Yeah.
Yeah, you go back and go, oh man, I remember talking about that, and I'm doing the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Shoot. I said I was never gonna touch that, and I ripped it all out the next week.
It's tough not to continually improving things, right?
Yeah.
It's part of it.
It is. Yeah, I get in trouble a lot for that. What are you doing out there on the cruiser again? I'm like, well, I'm just doing this. It
would just take me 30 minutes, 3 hours later.
Yeah. Exactly.
It was a 30-minute job, but then this bolt snapped. Now it's a 3-hour job.
Yes.
Yeah. And I got to go to the hardware store.
Yep.
You do anything to your cruiser, LJ, or are you kind of just still recouping from the trip?
Yeah, still recouping. I got it cleaned up, got it ready. It's going to go in the shop and get the rear seals put in it and some other work done. So that's on deck for it. It's still doing good, getting me around and doing what it needs to do, but it also needs a little maintenance love if I'm going to go out and enjoy this this summer. Yeah.
I mean, it snowed at my house on the weekend. On Saturday it was snowing. And then Sunday, I mean, it didn't really stick. It was just stuck. It was just sticking on the roofs and like the deck. But
it's still snowball worthy, right?
Anything on the ground didn't stick. It was the roof it was just the roof.
Got it.
It was snow. And then the next day, Sunday, it was 70 degrees and I was outside planning stuff in shorts and t-shirt. So it's a trip.
Yeah.
Coming into tornado weather.
Ooh, yeah. The worst part of the year, in my opinion.
Yep. It feels like it outside right now.
Mm-hmm.
Real muggy and windy around here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's where we're at too.
Nothing major on the cruiser. Just kind of getting back in the swing of the routine of life right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the vacation for your vacation.
Yeah. As we talked about in the last one, it's kind of dialed. It just really needs some maintenance right now.
Yeah.
Because when you do those kind of things to it, you rattle things loose and bust things up, and just part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Steve? What's up?
Nothing too crazy. I just checked my tire pressures. I noticed some weird, really
just added some nitrogen because I don't air down ever.
The facts. No, I noticed some weird wear patterns on my tires. And so I've been running around 32-ish PSI. And so I bumped that up to 38. So I want to see how that feels, how that looks after a couple. I mean, the truck doesn't really get driven a whole lot. So we'll see. I'll give it a couple months and maybe a whole oil change to see if it wears any different or not. So
that's all.
38 cold or 38 hot?
So that's actually a good question. I did 38 cold, but that might be too high because as the tire heats up, that'll get higher pressure. And I definitely don't want to get to like 45 PSI on the highway.
I don't think it'll go that high.
No. I mean, you're only a couple degrees, 6 degrees or 6 PSI higher than original. So
yeah.
Yeah,
we're
you're
like
right
right there too.
Yeah, I can also. I downloaded this new app called OBD Fusion, and I got a little new Bluetooth reader, so I can pull tire
Those are
temps,
nifty.
which is really cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I could pull tire temps and then PSI and correlate those two real time, which is really, really cool. So I bought the little $10, $14 module to monitor all sorts of Toyota Lexus components to the OBD2 port.
That's
Those
cool. I'm
things
gonna
are
ask you for
stellar.
that link.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
it's awesome. It really is.
I have
a cool
one,
piece.
but my car doesn't have that many parameters. So the 80
Yeah.
series has a lot less than the 100.
Yeah,
I wonder what
Yeah.
all you can check in the 80 series, because like I have one in the Turtle, and
Mhm.
I have it connected to the tablet, and so I can pull up all the diagnostics and have them
nice.
up there. And so
Yeah.
at like 3 a.m, I decided to rearrange my diagnostics cluster on it to
Nice.
stay awake
On
And
torque.
So like, yeah, on torque.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
and
so I've
that's
got,
like the worst menu too, because you have to
Oh,
like
it
push and hold it,
sucks.
and
It's
then
terrible.
it's so bad.
Oh, if you don't like torque, because I use Torque Pro as well. Torque
Yeah.
Pro
Yeah.
is leaps and bounds better than OBD Fusion. OBD Fusion sucks in terms of like moving all the gears and the
Yeah,
data points
That's
and all that.
funny.
So, ugh.
Yeah, you have to click it and then scroll through the whole menu.
yeah.
But even you see every item regardless of if your OBD2 sends a signal to it. So you have to like
Yeah.
go through like hundreds.
So mine's like half. Mine's like I have like 4. I have like battery voltage, coolant temperature, and I think I have like the gas. That's it. But I do have an intake air temperature. But my 100 series, it was nice to see the tranny temp, because I did a lot of. I mean, I don't think it really mattered. It was not like I was going to overheat it, but I did a lot of like slow stuff in the desert in 4 low, and or when you're getting stuck or something. It was kind of cool to watch the temperature climb.
Yeah.
But
I had set it up
Mhm.
originally without the tranny temp on it, and I knew that I could get that, and so that's what I was looking for. And not that I needed it at the time, but I was like, I'm just curious what this is. I think I can find it.
I like to
20 minutes
watch
later,
the things cycle, and you see the little min and max arrows on the gauges. It's really cool to see. You can watch your thermostat open and close on your engine. It's really cool.
Yeah.
it's pretty neat. Nice tangent. Those things are awesome.
Nice
Yes.
thing to have.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and you could like clear codes out. So I've got this pesky code that keeps on popping up. That's not really a big deal.
Nothing about flooding your charcoal canister or nothing.
No, I didn't get that one. I did have like gas tank open. Like gas cap loose was one that I got the other day.
Yeah.
And just went back there and gave it the old click.
Yeah.
But
that throws the
catalytic
check engine
converters-
light.
Yeah.
What's that?
And that throws a check engine light for a gas cap.
It did.
It's crazy.
That was the first one. But it is throwing it for the cats. And so I've been clearing those out because they're expensive.
Yeah.
So
And
not to get on another tangent, if you have a voltmeter or resistance meter,
okay.
you go underneath and you test the O2 sensors. So it might not actually be the catalytic converter. It could be the O2, like upstream or downstream. And you check the resistance on them. And you can do it when it's hot or cold, and you can watch the temperature increase. It's like a thermal thing that creates a voltage. And you can test the resistance on there, and you can diagnose it before you go out and buy stuff.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Cause it doesn't say if it's an O2 sensor. It just says the catalytic converter, but it only comes up like on that whole trip for 3,500 miles. It came on one time. And once I cleared it out, it didn't come back on again. And that it came on like on our way out, like on the interstate at a random time. It was like just popped up, and I was like, oh, went to torque.
Yeah.
I was like,
Clear.
Yeah, that's no big deal. Cleared it off. Chase is like, that's nice.
Yeah.
I was like, it is.
Yeah, super nice.
No more Christmas tree. I could not. It did not let me clear off the airbag light whenever the clock spring was going out. Which I was like, that's it. You think you could clear that out too, but I guess you have to.
You have to buy the
better-
expensive. Yeah, you have to buy like one, because you can buy the better ones that do ABS too. So you can trigger your ABS pump to bleed it. So you don't actually have to touch the pedal. Just use the pump. Yeah, you have to buy a better reader for that does ABS codes. And
the scan gauge can do the bleeding, right?
I don't know.
I feel like I saw Lee do that one time out in Utah. He had the system do it. I feel like I might have seen John do it too one time.
I don't know.
Where you could like set it up to like do a bleed test and it'll like bleed the brakes for you.
Yeah. He has the program. What's it called? TechStream.
TechStream can do that.
Where you check all the levels. Lee probably did it on TechStream because he carries around a laptop.
So. Isn't it? I think he might have a laptop, or he might have like some module he was working with.
Yeah.
Nice. It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. You can just set that up and it does it for you.
Yeah.
It's nice to know when you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's nice to know, check engine light comes on, and it could be just for like low coolant, like you just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened. We were just sitting there on the trail, like in the middle of the trip on the trail, and the gas light or the check engine light comes on. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This is not what I need to happen right now.
Was this before or after Randall?
After.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, no, you don't need that.
No, it was like the start of the next day. Like I was like warming the truck up before we got like really moving. And I like popped back in the truck and I was like, the fuck? What's going on here?
Oh no.
Oh man.
Dang.
But just be able to check it and just like, oh, this is no big deal. Cleared it, just went back there, gave the gas cap the old click, and went on about my way. But yeah,
solid.
So what were we talking about, Steve? Did you have some other stuff you did this weekend?
No, that's all I did this weekend. But what I really want to hear is comms. I want to talk about comms in Moab and what worked, what didn't work, what you guys used.
Yeah,
because that was a convoy, right? Like that was.
That's our new rule. Yeah, we got to be at least 20 minutes in before we can go into our actual conversation.
Before we get to the topic of the. No nice segue into that. I just had to butt right in.
Oh, that's funny.
But no, I like it. That's a good segue. And so, so Midland sent us out with some handhelds to go check out, try out, put them through their paces. We certainly did that. Used them quite a bit through the whole trip. We're kind of, I don't know, I think we all have a Midland radio, right?
Yeah.
That we use on a regular basis. So so I think this whole group here is pretty in the same group on the Midland train, because it just works. But so they send us out with some radios.
Nice.
They worked well. Battery life was what you expected from a handheld device. We didn't use them as our primary device because we do have the 275 that's hardwired into the truck.
Yeah.
What we used it a lot for was running up to help spot. You can put on the same radio and be able to just help folks out without having to scream and yell at them. Just pop your handheld up, say, hey,
it's so much convenient. And it's such a weird feeling because you hop out there with the radio and you're spotting someone. You just hit the talk button and you just literally can look at the person's face and you can kind of get their vibe, if they're comfortable, if they're kind of wide-eyed, white-knuckled, hanging on. It's like, okay, let's take a slow down. And it's almost like you're like a negotiator, like talking this person down off the ledge. And
it's so true. It's so true. Because when you're on the radio, you can just be very calm. Like a lot of times, that we would get out, just like, hey, you're good. You just got to back up a little bit. And you can kind of get in that, you can set that tone like you're talking about, to where you can calm the driver down. And if they're in a hairy situation, you can help them get through it with
makes
ease.
A lot of sense, because if you're trying to yell at the driver through a windshield, through an open window, your inflection changes, right? Just because you're trying to project your voice.
Yeah.
Versus just literally talking on a radio.
Yeah.
So you keep yourself, you sound a lot more calm if you're just talking on the radio versus that yelling and projection. So that's a really good point. I never thought about. Win. Definitely.
So you just have them like in your door pocket.
Yeah, so on the Land Cruiser, for all of our Land Cruiser listeners, they actually fit right in your Land Cruiser pocket, and so you can just drop it in, and it was comfortable.
They're small.
It fit well in the bib of my overalls as well, so I could just like click it and talk to them without having to like lose it.
Nice.
Because they're also really good for letting your buddy borrow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good at forgetting my buddy has that radio whenever we say goodbye.
Yeah.
Oh,
no. So you came home with one of them.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
But you know, it is how it goes. He has a couple seals for me as well that he's mailing out. But
now what radio is that handheld? And
it's a GXT 1000.
Okay. And what band is that on?
GMRS.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you're able to run
nice.
along the same systems as your installed radios right now, which is pretty sweet. Made it really easy.
Nice. Set and forget.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
there were a couple guys out there that had the Baofangs, and you had to have the actual conversion to the ham or the actual readout, which is okay because Jeff gave me.
I was going to say, did you use it? You got it
at the rally? 100%.
Awesome.
We were going down the road, and someone had asked what channel it was on that, and I just sent a screenshot of this, and I said, "Save this in your phones, and you'll always have a reference."
That's the best thing. That and then the diesel heater error codes.
Oh man, that's a good one.
That's a good one. It's a good one because you have no idea.
I've used like it's the weirdest thing is I just threw it in the glove box right during the trip, but I've used it so many times because you always start a trip and someone has just a regular ham radio or something. You got to figure out the actual band to be on. It's such a handy little tool because normally when you get out there, you don't have any service. So like if you didn't have something that was like manual, like an Atlas.
Sounds so old school. It's like, I got these paper things. I got them saved on my phone too, which is good. So I can look at them, but it's nice. It's nice just to have the lamp. Like my wife got a laminator. It's like in my office over here, and I steal it and do all these things for my car. Whoops. Okay. Makes little handouts for everybody. So it works out good.
I like it. Do y'all on your radios, do you have the extended antennas, like the big antennas, or do you have the one that came with?
Yeah, I have the big one. I have the 3 foot. Yeah, the 6 dB big antenna. So mine's clipped on the hood.
Oh, is yours the wavy one?
Yeah, it does wave good amount.
But it's not like the big Australian ones, right? It's not like the really thick, girthy.
It's like this. It's not like this.
It's like the wavy guys. Oh man. Oh, that's good. But no, it has like a little, it's 3 feet long and it sticks up. And the cool part about that is it's right at the height of my rack. So if I hit that on something, I know I'm going to hit my rack. So like when I pull into like parking garages, there's not very many here, but I know that antenna hits, I'm backing up. So
there were some guys that had good antennas out on the Moab trip, and so we were broke down at the gatekeeper at Lockhart, and they were able to communicate back. Like it was almost an hour and a half later, they communicated back that they had gotten out and were going into town. And I was like, we were all just like, that's crazy. Like they're not close.
Yeah. So they were on ham radios, I'm guessing.
I'm not sure what they were using. I didn't go into the detail of what they had, but it was some very good reception. There were 2 vehicles that had the extended antennas. One of them had a wobbler on the back. Phil on the yellow FJ, he had a wobbler.
The big old whip.
And that was good. And Randall also had a really good antenna, so we were able to hear his, which was good because we were at his car most of the time. We were waiting, so there was always someone around his car, so we were able to hear them when they came in and all that stuff, which was, I mean, it's pretty solid. I think that was all Midland stuff as well, so pretty good stuff as far as being able to communicate where there was absolutely zero service. It's cool. It's just nice. Like I forget who said this, but it was like talking on the comms is like half the fun of the trip because you have so many funny stories. Like
we're still talking about the Red Clay Rally. We were talking about like Jake calling me and Eric dads and stuff, and like it's just so funny, so funny when you when you sit there and think about it.
Yeah.
I love like that's probably like that's I would say top 5 most exciting things about a big trip for me with the group is being on the walkie-talkies and just chatting and goofing around, having a good time. It's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, it sure is. It changes the game, and going from handhelds to vehicle mounted is a big adjustment too on just the ease and comfortability of it
and the quality, I imagine.
Yeah, the sound is a lot better because they can put a bigger speaker in the little handheld, and it's a big difference, and you don't have to charge it. Like that's the best thing. It's just always on. And I have since I've moved here, or I've only had one since I moved here, but I use it for the weather.
Oh yeah.
Like whenever I go camping, there's no signal in Tellico Plains. So we would check the weather for the night because it was going to be possibly some rain or whatever. And then we used it when we were up in the Smoky Mountains when that big snowstorm happened. We were checking the weather and, hearing that kind of stuff. So it was nice to hear.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a really nice feature.
Kind of important, especially you got caught like in a ice storm. What was that thing you got caught? You got caught out there, and
it was like an ice storm where
y'all had to get off the campsite, didn't you?
Yeah, we got out of the campsite because there was going to be like 75-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, and there's big trees all around us, and we saw all the trees from the windstorm that happened 2 weeks before that were cut across basically the road and just left there. So
yeah. For the folks listening that aren't in the South a lot. The trees fall around here a lot.
Yeah.
There's
They're
been
called widowmakers.
Yeah. There's been multiple times we have been in an area where a large piece of a tree falls that would hurt someone very, very bad if they happen to be under it. And there's no warning of it because you're right. It's a widowmaker. It's a tree that's already dead and is leaning on another tree. And all it takes is the right gust of wind to move that tree out of the way. And then you now have, could be a 60-foot tree that's falling without any notice.
Yeah, I mean, Steve and I were camping in the same campground spot when it happened, and it almost crushed our friend's daughter in the tent.
Yeah,
I mean, she was literally 3 feet. So if the tree would have fallen a little bit more to the right, it would have crushed her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I packed up that night, Steve. I was like, I'm going home. I woke my kids up. It was like, I don't know, 11 o'clock. I woke my kids up, and Steve was like, can I help? I'm like, yeah, just throw it in the back. I mean, we literally just grabbed like the tent, folded it up like with the sleeping bags in there and just just shoved everything in there. And I was like, peace, I'm going home.
Yeah.
Can't blame them. No.
Man. Yeah, that's scary.
So, but yeah, so you have that. And even when I go camping now, I'm always checking. It only takes that one time to be prepared. So I always check around the, base of the tree, look for dead branches. It's pretty easy in the summertime to see if a tree is dead with, no leaves on it.
Yeah.
Wintertime, it's a little bit more difficult, but you can, I'm starting to learn to tell, but you can hear a difference in like the dead trunks and stuff. So
what do you do to that? Like talk me through.
So use like process. A hatchet. It's kind of like a tire hitting a stick on a tire, like for the semi trucks.
Okay.
And you just kind of whack the tree with the back of the mallet, and you can kind of like hear a more hollow sound or like a thump. Like, I don't know how to explain it over the air, but if you hit a live one and you hit a dead one, it's a sound difference. So
okay,
kind of just check that around you.
And you can also feel it, right? Like, so when you hit the tree, if your axe the butt of the axe kind of sinks into the bark or the wood, then it's probably starting to rot on the bottom of the tree. So it's sounded also just a feel of it. So, but yeah, I've
always looked up.
Yeah.
And then you'll see, a healthy tree has a much different pattern of limbs and everything as a dead tree does. And, but also when you look up, you find those trees that might have a big limb that's leaning over or something. But these, I'm going to have to also try these thud methods to see what the difference is. Cause that's a pretty cool way to do it.
Yeah. Another cool thing that I just thought of, on my last camping trip, I think it was in the Smokies when I was like, if you were around a really sketchy tree that you thought was bad and it was like the only spot to camp, you could always get your winch line and like secure it like around something
like
to another tree.
Yeah.
I mean, you could like, or put like a barrier. You could use your winch line to make a barrier for you to put your tent underneath. Like,
so if
it fell, at least it would hit the winch line and then either bounce or not kill you. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's not a bad idea
for sure.
If you're desperate and you want to do a McRuber,
more life-saving facts at Bankrupt Overland.
Yeah.
Well, we might keep you alive in the cold, and we may keep you alive in a windstorm in Tennessee. And that's like super ingenious. Just like if you have to camp, right? If you don't have an option and you're out there, like this is a way to keep it safe.
Definitely.
Cool.
So
we're talking comms, we're talking the handhelds. My question for you is, do they charge with like a USB, or do they have a cradle, or how do they charge? Because like the cheaper handhelds, like the Baofangs, you have to use a cigarette lighter socket, and it's not a USB or anything.
Yeah. You gotta plug it into a little charging station, which isn't the best.
Gotcha.
You would think that nowadays they would have that figured out, but not yet. So I that's got to be coming soon. You got to expect it. But yeah, you had to have you got to kind of like stop, charge it when you're not moving, because when you're on the trails,
bouncing.
You are. And the Baofangs are the same way. You got to have a little holder for them as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure what that is. If it's like a different, maybe it's rechargeable battery types or something that require that. But my headlamp, it runs off a USB. So I don't see why radio couldn't.
No,
I guess radio might use more.
Yeah, but I'd be curious if you could like cut the cord off, find positive, negative, wire it to USB, but it might require too much power to push through USB.
Yeah, if it wasn't set up for it, because you can only put what, 5 amps. 5 amps.
Yeah.
So, 5 amps at what, 5.3 volts or something? I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So not enough.
Yeah. But
okay.
Not nearly enough.
I mean, yeah, it's that's kind of a disadvantage. I would like to see some sort of cradle or something, because I know who makes.
Well, it is a cradle. Like, hold on, I'll pull it up here.
It's a plastic cradle, but you have to like set it on a flat surface, and you can't really just like off-road and bounce around with it.
Oh, like it's contact points to charge.
So yeah, you got to have where's yeah, here we go. All of these right here. Can y'all see this?
Yeah. Okay. So it's
just so you have to put it in this, but I mean, and it sits in there, and it's not like, it doesn't like lock in.
Sure.
But it does sit in there. But yeah, once you're off road, there's no way that's going to stay in there. It's going to hit one bump, and even in the luxurious Land Cruiser, it'll still give you a problem.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, handheld versus vehicle wired is night and day difference on the amount of power that you put out, because one, you're on the other side of the glass with an externally mounted antenna. If you're doing handheld, the radio waves don't like glass, and they're bouncing all around inside your car, barely getting out. So if you think about that, of how much more power you get having the antenna mounted outside, and then for receiving radio too, you can receive a signal easier. So you get a lot more strength out of the vehicle mounted ones.
Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah, I've been running the Midland MTX 275. Let me pull
275. Yep.
And I really like that one because the MTX 275 Micro Mobile. I like that one because all the controls are in the handset. So what I've done for my install is I've mounted the cord component in my glove box. Just still use a cigarette lighter plug, and then because these use RJ45 cables, which is nothing more than Ethernet cables, and so I've routed an external port right underneath my radio so that I can just plug in the handset unit. It provides power because it's EOP. or PoE, and then I can control everything right from my handset.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the unit just goes underneath the dash, and mine's mounted underneath my center console. Like, it would take me probably 30 minutes to get it out if I needed to.
Yeah.
But you don't need it for anything. I ran an extension just like you did. I wired one up myself and just ran it next to my center console, so you just plug it right in.
Oh yeah, and it's perfect. Yeah, I've had no issues with it, and I run the 6 dB antenna. Actually, my first time installing it, I kind of broke it. Not to the fault of Midland, just my brute forceness of it. Yeah, and I called up Midland and I was like, guys, I kind of messed this up. What do I need to buy to fix this? And like, oh, we'll send it out to you for free. I'm like, I didn't even. Thank you. Like, it's not even y'all's fault. And they sent me out the part that I broke, the whole cable that goes from from the antenna through the firewall to your unit. They sent me that whole thing for free. They're like, yeah, what's your address? No problem. And this was like even before they knew who we were, right? This was just like a random customer that was an idiot and broke one of their things. And they're like, yeah, take it, whatever.
Dang.
So yeah, they won a lot of
cool.
they won a lot of kudos for me for that, because I was more than willing. I think the cable is like a $30 cable, and I was more than willing to buy that. I was kind of bummed that I'd have to buy it, but no, they're like, no big deal. We know you broke it. No worries. Here's a free one. So yeah, so it was awesome. So I will say though that on that website that or that page that I think LJ had up, the factory little magnetic antenna, it works okay. I used it once or twice, but the 6 dB, click on that MTX. So that stock one, it's just a little magnetic.
So maybe like 10 inches.
Yeah,
not even that. It's pretty small.
It's
I have
small,
the same one.
Yeah. It works okay, but if you can upgrade to like the 6 dB antenna, that's what I think is where.
So you can do the 6 dB, and you can also screw on the 3 dB antenna to it.
Is that the Ghost?
That's the small little nub.
Mm-hmm.
So that little nub that you're seeing, the 3 dB, that one can just screw right onto the same mount as the 6 dB.
Oh, that's really cool, because I have my mount.
So you actually wire it once.
Yeah, that's really cool, because my mount is on the front of my bumper, right? The Iron Man bumper has a little slot for antennas, and so I just wired it right there. So that's really cool. If I don't need to use 6 dB.
2.1. Yeah, so the stock one's 2.1. So you're getting a good improvement.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. Because another guy
is this
that
the one you have?
Yeah.
Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have the same one.
Yeah. I saw a couple people on the YouTube have that as well. Russ was saying he has it. And I'm sure that's what some of the other folks had as well, because it was pretty good. Like I was thoroughly impressed. I was like, oh shit, for an extra $60, you got like a lot of
seriously, especially if it's like flat. Like I've been a couple miles from the people that I was wheeling with, and it was all like hilly, mountainous, had a lot of trees, and I was still able to hear them. But if it's like flat and not as dense forest like Moab, I'm not saying Moab's flat, but if you have a longer like line of sight than what we typically have here in the Southeast, it pushes pretty far out there.
You could be in Arkansas on the freeway, on the interstate going across. Yeah. Someone could probably get off and get gas and still be able to hear everybody.
Probably.
I'm sure. I was thinking about that the other day. That's just incredible. Like at how you can just have that in your car.
Well, it's so funny because this is like old technology. This is nothing new.
Yeah.
But I was
They've
thinking
had ham radios for years.
Why don't we have the radio that you can just disconnect and make a handheld and runs on like an auxiliary battery and antenna for a little bit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you like just an plug it in your car.
I think they have something like that in CB, but no one really runs. I wouldn't say no one. CB is really old technology, But my buddy,
people run CVs, but I don't know those people very well.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe, how about this? For the people that are listening, there's three main groupings or common groupings of radio frequency. So you have CB, which is citizen band. A lot of truckers use that. It's pretty short range. Well, I guess you have, so CB, then you have FRS, which is like family radio services.
Family radio service, yeah.
Yeah, so FRS. CB and FRS are free. A lot of like handheld walkie-talkies are on the FRS band. And then you have GMRS, which is, I think, $75 for a lifetime license or something like that. No test. I think it's just pay the fee or whatever. And then you have one step up, which is, let me get the name for GMRS. It is General Mobile Radio Service. So that's what GMRS stands for. And then you have amateur radio, also known as ham. And that one you have to take a test. And I think, I don't know if it's like a recurring license fee or if you just take the test once and pay the license fee once, but ham is where you get some crazy ranges because they use repeaters.
You can do hundreds of miles on your vehicle because you can go up to 50 watts, I think.
Yeah.
So it's, you're putting some power through there, and GMRS radios are just a little section of that amateur radio.
Yeah.
So
which is why Baofeng can talk with GMRS.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everything's a frequency. It's just what range does your device transmit and project. Like the Baofengs can talk on the GMRS stations, but you have to adjust the output wattage per each station. There's regulations for how much power each channel you can transmit, because you don't want a kid's walkie-talkie transmitting all the way to the next town and everyone wouldn't have any space on the radio. So you keep it short on those ones where people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just a, hey, what's up? Not like a ham radio where you introduce yourself with a call sign and, you know, you exit with a call sign and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get like a legally licensed call sign that's unique to yourself. It's kind of crazy.
I guess that is the value of a ham, right? That's why someone would want to go through that process to have that range if it was necessary, right? I can see that.
Yeah.
I always wondered, like, why go through all that trouble? But now that I understand the repeater process,
it's a hobby. It's a hobby. People get crazy with them. They have,
what's the hobby? They just like hang out and talk on them?
Talk to people.
Yeah, like legitimate
videos, testing antennas. I mean, the same kind of stuff we do with our Land Cruisers, but with radios and just.
It was actually kind of wild because like
I was so confused.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find the commonality in that, and I'm having trouble.
We work on them a lot and just tinker on them, and then we go on a trip.
Yeah, because you can adjust like the power outage and see how far you can reach, or also people monitor them for emergency services, right? So if someone is an emergency, like in Montana, middle nowhere Montana, and they're on their ham like calling SOS when we have an emergency, people will monitor. And I think there's actually a couple channels that are specific for like SOS channels, like emergency channels. And so people will monitor that. And then if someone has like a home base ham system, they can set up their home base ham system as a repeater. So say if they're in, I don't know, Idaho or whatever, they hit a repeater in Montana, well, they can then push that signal to another part of Idaho or whatever it may be, right? That's kind of a terrible example. But people will just monitor it, listen to it. They'll talk. I mean, I know a lot of preppers, when they think
that's what I was thinking.
Stuff. Yeah.
I was like, preppers. That feels like I was getting a little out there right in my head. I was like, what if the internet's done and 5G is gone? You got no G's.
Yep.
What are you gonna use to communicate?
Use handhelds.
Because could you imagine, little like doomsday prepper conversation right now? Can you imagine like if, say, the internet and cell phones are just wiped out, like those two things gone.
Mm-hmm. How would you know how your family's doing? Like,
y'all remember when you couldn't talk to people?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
I was on that trip, and I said something about like the 90s, and they were like, "What was the 90s?" And I was like, "Fuck."
You're too old.
Y'all drink?
They're over there doing Jaeger bombs, and you're asking about 90s.
It was funny.
The 90s was the best decade. Fight me.
Yeah, I see some commonality in that. There was something very pure about not being connected to everybody all the time.
As we connect to everybody around the world through our podcast. So.
But
we love our listeners.
We also talk about disconnecting for most of the podcast.
Yes, very true.
That is one of the highlights of doing those kind of trips. Is you can say, there's no service, even though you might have uploaded a couple videos on Instagram, but there's no service, so you can't get a hold of me. Sorry,
sorry.
If there's an emergency, there's enough service for that.
Yeah. Well, I had the InReach Mini with me, so we always had the ability to get out of a situation if something really bad happened.
How'd that work for you? Because that has an interface. Since we're talking about comms, that's like the next step after ham radio, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, it worked out well. I used it because there was probably a good 3 days where we didn't have service out there. Maybe 4 days. And so like that was like a continuous 3, so it was there was really no communication opportunities at all.
I mean, there could be emergency on either end.
Yeah. And so
you have to think about it on her end too, or
I had I think I did 1 month with Garmin for like $30 and had like 40 text messages and tracking every 10 minutes. So Erica could check along and see, okay, it's gotten later in the day and they've stopped. Okay, they should be at camp, right? And in the daytime, okay, they're moving, everything's good. Like there's nothing to worry about because they're on the move, kind of a thing. So it was good because we had a text message say, "Hey, got to camp. Tell you tomorrow when we head out." Those kind of things. And then of course you do have the SOS where if shit hits the fan, you can hit that button and the folks will come in to save
emergency services.
Yeah, as long as you're not too far away up on some
or it's not too dangerous because they're I was thinking there's a lot of people that do that for backcountry stuff and they might be we're at least around a road. So there's always like some way for a vehicle normally where we're at. But I was thinking we were out there, I was like, man, what if we were talking about like what if you were like a extreme backpacker and you're in the middle of nowhere and something bad happens, right? You break your ankle and you're 10 miles into a 20-mile round trip hike.
Yeah, you're kind of
across a mountain face. Like that's a bad day.
I know. So I've been a part of a couple of their webinars where something similar like that happened. It was more of like I think a skiing accident, like backcountry skiing, and they sent medevac, like a helicopter, out to get them. And then I guess they can also contact local SARS, so search and rescue, that are very trained and highly skilled in that area. But it's never a guarantee. And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand is, you can have that SOS button, but they're not going to risk their lives to save your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like where we were at, if, something bad would have happened and someone would have broken a bone or something, like that would have been, I think that would have been our line to get out and try to get something a little bit faster than 7 hours. Right.
Doing a 3 hour drive, over rocky bumps
for a part, you don't use the Garmin InReach, but for a part of your body that's broken, you might have to use the Garmin InReach. It just depends.
It's a good way to put it. So what you're saying is you need to invent a button for people to push if they need car parts.
See if a shop in Moab could figure out that, if they could figure that out,
drone like parts. Yeah. Here comes your alternator.
Guys, why are we talking about this on our first YouTube live session? We need to we should hold that for when we have the ability to edit those out.
So we keep those ideas to ourselves.
I mean, there are so many national parks around there. It'd be hard to be able to fly a drone anywhere. But being able to radio to a shop and a shop being able to deliver, and like you could pay for that delivery. Like I'm sure that, you know, that delivery would have been
Uber
paid for
fixes.
in our situation. Yeah.
Come out on like a motorcycle with like a big old like bag or like a basket on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
the parts that we needed could have easily been thrown into a backpack and rode out there on a dirt bike. Yeah. And they'd have made it out there probably in like an hour and a half.
Done it fast too. Yeah. Seriously.
It's like Amazon Prime, but it's Moab Prime.
Dig it.
If you could figure it out, I'd say you stay pretty busy. Oh, man. I mean, you'd be able to keep a 1 to 2 man shop running for a while.
For sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, with all the rental Jeeps out there, I mean, if companies can tap, I'm gonna stop talking about this because I don't need no one else to take our ideas.
Speaking of rental Jeeps,
yes,
I was looking at, this is totally off topic, but it's 100% our show. Looking at Sedona after I run the Grand Canyon, and so I want to talk a little bit about that because I'm trying to kind of, I know that we're gonna rent a Jeep
Wrangler.
We've got Rubicon.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, nice.
So
sweet.
Called up. That'll be a fun change of content for a little while. I'm not going pink Jeep. I'm gonna go with a different company. It's funny. I was talking to my boss, and she was out there last week, and said they took a pink Jeep tour around that area, and I was like, "Yeah, at least you got out and like, did it."
That's cool. It's such a pretty spot to go do that little loop.
But yeah, but we're thinking getting out there doing that, and then we'll probably get a hotel or something like that over in Sedona for a couple nights and hang out in that area. But trying to figure out what to do out there. So if anybody has anything that they recommend, I'm all ears at this point.
Yeah.
You went out there, didn't you, Steve?
Yeah.
I think in Flagstaff, there's a zoo that you could drive through called Arizona.
What? A zoo?
That's cool.
You can drive through?
Yeah, so you can like drive through with like wolves and bears.
You're gonna pull the doors off. You're like, here you go, Erica. Let's go to bear country.
Arizona, man.
Arizona. You gotta get your eyes on this one, Jeff. Let's
see. I can't share, but it's a little bit live. It's a little bit.
You can share now.
Let's see how far away.
Arizona.
That's in Flagstaff. So you have to go through Flagstaff to get to Sedona from the Grand Canyon.
Nice.
Yeah. So Sedona's down here, and it's to Flagstaff. Let's see directions to.
It's like it should be like an hour.
30 minutes. Oh, you got to do it.
So you have to 30 minutes off of the beaten path.
30 minutes away from Flagstaff.
Arizona Wildlife Park.
Yeah,
let's pull some pictures up of this. I want to check out how this makes you
love feel. The cats.
What?
There's a bear right there. What? Smokey, step aside
right now. She's out. She's gonna take one look at the Google page and tell me I'm effing crazy.
You can like drive
reindeer.
Reindeer. Yeah, like so when we drove across the country, we were trying to go through it. But they said we had one of those hitch carriers on the back of the rig.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can't have that on there because the bears and coyotes will jump on it and rip it open.
Oh, no.
Oh, Jesus. So they're like, they have jumped on people's cars and stuff. Where's the pictures of it? Like, what?
That'd be great. Return the rental Jeep back and it's got some bear claws on the side of it. Nah.
There's insurance.
Yeah. So
I'm definitely gonna have the insurance.
You can drive through Arizona.
Man,
that's
I've
pretty
heard.
Cool.
I'm gonna actually pull up Google, not on the meeting, just so I can see. I've heard the Coconino National Forest is really pretty. I don't know necessarily what to do there. I've just seen a lot of people love that area. Let's see. I know. So that drive from Flagstaff to Sedona, we did that like 4 or 5 times in like 3 days, and it's just a gorgeous drive. Yeah. Let me get over there real quick.
Yeah. So I think I'm trying to talk my buddy. So my buddy's, I think he's going to drive his like 72 Scout out there. And
wow, that's cool.
He's been trying to talk me into riding out there with him. I've got a lot going on then, so I don't know if I can ride out. But I was like, hey, what if I flew into Albuquerque and rode the last day with you in? So like ride from Albuquerque into the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
And just be able to take off one day of work and kind of get down there super early.
Yeah.
And ride in that way. And then I think Erica is going to pick up the Jeep wherever we can fly her into.
Yeah.
Drive it in. And so we'll, cause I'll be in for a couple days before, cause
nice.
We're not going to run it. We're not going to run it until Sunday. And so I think I'll be getting in on Friday. Probably she'll get in on Sunday and catch us finished, because obviously there's nothing exciting about watching two guys run across the Grand Canyon. You
can't see it. It's not like a spectator sport, you know?
No, not at all. Not at all. So it's like, just show up like when I'm done and we can hang out and kick it. And I'll be like, we'll just be able to chill.
You don't have to stand there and wait for me.
But so I'm in this training, and my buddy calls me Josh, and he's a little bit more of a planner than I am. He's done a couple Ironmans. And so he's definitely, that's a 14 hours of exercising. Like that's a long time.
Big deal. Big deal.
So, he's gone through a plan of how to execute a day of beating yourself up. And he was like, so what's your plan? And I was like, I don't know, just, go run it.
Yeah.
It's like 7 months away. He was like, you realize if you fuck this up and you can't get out of the bottom, they got to get a fucking helicopter to get you out. And I was like, oh, damn, Josh. He was like, there's no like, oh, I'm hurt. I'm getting a ride out of there.
Yeah. Oh, man. You got your Garmin InReach for it, man. You just push the button.
But I'm like, you don't want to be airlifted out of the Grand Canyon because you didn't train right.
How'd you yourself? I don't know. I just started running 2 weeks ago.
Pack the right nutrition. That's kind of the biggest thing, is because, it's really dry. You're going to be changing elevation at a very fast rate.
Yeah.
And you're going to use a lot of your stored values that you have in your body for energy. And so I think that's more of what his question to me was initially, was like, do you have a nutrition plan? And clearly my answer was no.
I know.
Google, what's a nutrition plan?
How many energy gel packs do I need to pack?
So I did the Memphis Marathon, and I ended up drinking like 6 beers along the whole marathon, because it's Memphis and they have these just house parties set up with beer and mimosas and like anything you want to grab and eat along the way. And so it's like funny. After like 13 miles, after like probably 15 miles, I was like, all right, you're going to finish this thing. We're at least going to have fun for the rest of the time. And so I just started grabbing beers when I went past places, and it kind of gave me energy because I needed the carbohydrates,
calories. So
I just kept drinking through the finish.
Nice.
And by the end of it, my brother-in-law Chase, my sister-in-law, and Erica were there, and I was like, so did y'all go on Bill Street and just get drunk? They're like, no, we had like maybe 1 beer. And I was like, I had more beers than y'all did.
You're just waiting. Oh, you're ready to go.
That's awesome.
So
how many miles is the run? I think I missed that.
24.
Okay, so it's
close to a marathon, which if you want to talk easy.
No, if you want to talk to a literal like expert, I know a couple ultra marathoners that will give you some seriously good information.
I love like hanging. I'm a runner. Like that's
these guys do ultras.
Like,
it's crazy.
I don't run ultras, but this is a big.
They can give you some tips.
Event for me. Yeah, so they could definitely help, because one thing I've noticed, and not to take this podcast a running podcast, but one thing I've noticed as I've gotten older is like I get injured a lot easier. Like I'm not as robust as I once was. And so I used to, as a runner, just like go. Like I would just go and I'd be like, I want to run at this time, and I would run at that time as long as I could and just get in better shape as I went. And then I started getting hurt all the time. And so I've actually taken a different approach, talking to another guy that's trained for an ultra before, and given me the advice of training based on my heart rate. and not like my mile time or anything like that. And so the focus is building the strength of your heart and your cardiovascular system before your muscles and all that, because if your heart can't sustain it, then your muscles won't be able to. And as you get older, that's when you start breaking shit. And so
that makes sense, because if your heart can't deliver the oxygen that your muscles need, then how are your muscles going to function? So yeah, that makes
and you
a lot
get
of
shitty
sense.
like breaks and fractures and stuff because of that. And so I've been trying this method, and I'm not really good at it, to be honest with you.
You'll get there.
But I did see like a 4-week data point today that like showed my average heart rate go down every week about 2 to 3 beats per minute on the same run. And so I'm seeing that like it is working, I guess. And I am getting more fit and I even took a week off in Utah and drank like 60 beers. So I was pretty happy that I'm still progressing in the right direction.
The elevation helped you. That's what it was, is that you're just barely walking at 6,000 feet. You're good.
Yeah. It was, that was, I was like, man, this is going to be a bad week to come back to it. But actually, like, I trained so hard going into that week that taking that week off probably helped my body recover.
Yeah, definitely.
And get back into it.
One last piece on comms before we wrap it up.
Comms.
So we went to comms to running. Now we're at the shoe store. I don't know what we're at right now.
We're in Arizona.
We're in Arizona.
Oh yeah. Sedona.
So comms. Starlink, Elon Musk's internet, right?
I'm excited about this.
So I've been seeing these videos pop up on my YouTube about people using Starlink. There's a guy in San Diego who built Starlink into like an AluCab box, and you can use it on your vehicle.
What?
So
they just released like a roaming aspect.
Yeah,
to it
roaming
now.
Package. And so basically you could have like 100 to 200 meg internet anywhere in the world.
In the middle of Moab, you could
literally turn it on. And you could live stream a soccer game or a football game or whatever you want to watch.
That with the podcast, that would have been genius.
That would have been
coming to you live. So I looked at this.
How do you get one of those things?
You just have to go on Starlink's site, and if you're eligible in the area, then they'll send them quicker. But some areas have too much bandwidth. They're saying it, so there's too many. They need to put more satellites up, I'm guessing. But you just go to Starlink, and I think it's $199 a month. Maybe it's
a month.
Let's see.
Damn, that's about a Tesla price.
So you could
just I want to be buying
it
from Tesla at that price is their stock.
Yeah.
That would be nice if their stock was back down to that.
Let's just click on something here.
Maybe if you buy enough stock, it'll pay you to run Starlink for free. How much? That's a good question. How much stock do you have to own of Tesla to be able to fund your monthly subscription to Starlink?
Yeah. So I just typed in some random address, and it's let me share this. So I don't live there. Don't send your fan mail there. Thank you. $5.99 for the hardware, $50 for the shipping, and then you're paying $110 a month. So
$110 a month. That's about what your normal internet services are.
Yeah,
that's half.
I did my address, and I'm not going to share my screen. And the deposit due today is $99. So
sweet.
How long would it be till you had it?
I don't know. It doesn't really say. I would have to put in billing information and all that, I guess.
Oh,
so
they'd be able to find you.
Yeah.
When you put it in, does it say not available in your area?
No.
Mine says order now to reserve your Starlink. Starlink is currently at capacity in your area, so your order may not be fulfilled until 2023 or later.
Yeah, mine says currently at capacity in your area. What a bummer.
Yeah. So you have to take them apart. You have to rip them apart and build them into like a box or something, but it is doable. And there's a couple people out there doing it, overlanding in like RVs or, vans using it.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, technically you could use it while you're at your house.
Mm-hmm.
You could run, everything. I mean, you could run your whole house off 200 megs. No problem.
Go camping and take the internet
and
with
then,
you.
Yeah, just take it with you.
Something about
that's how you get the whole family camping with you, is you just take the internet with you.
Here's your iPad. Here's the Netflix login. Here's to town.
Everything. You're on DoorDash ordering food to a campsite.
DoorDash is like, what is this order?
It was like, over here. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
But that's the new comms right there. That's, you got a Starlink on your roof, your rig, and you have internet for the campsite. You could literally plug in a modem and you could power the whole campsite's Wi-Fi. Not that we're just talking about getting away. So this is the opposite of that. I wouldn't do that. Probably I would, but I'm not telling you I would.
But the thing is like you could go for a month in middle of Moab and still work your normal 9-to-5 job. That's the thing about what's so beautiful about this system, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That's true.
But I have a thing called a family and stuff. So I can't just go.
Well, theoretically.
Yeah. Anyways, that was the last piece on comms that I've been hearing about.
That's kind of gone full circle then, because we talked about CB
handhelds and CBs to Starlink. Wow, that's a good comms episode. Nice job, guys. Nice job.
Pretty good.
It's like we planned that
GPS, the GPS trackers in reaches.
Yep. Yeah.
So, we went all around the world with it. That was nice.
We planned this. Totally knew what we're doing here.
I like it. Well, we are at time. And so on that fine ending, we'll just end things for this week. And guys, that was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Always great.
Thanks for hanging out.
First YouTube live, man. That was exciting.
Yeah, it was cool. We had some good engagement. Russ and Matt. Erica popped in here, talked about liking the tracking.
Cool.
I did see here Russ said that his Midland handhelds do have a micro USB charging port. So they do make them.
Okay.
I just don't have them. So
okay.
Good on Midland.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. I like that. Micro USB. I wish it was USB-C, but that's me just
make the switch. Come on, do it.
Oh, at least it's micro USB. We'll take it.
Good
deal.
So thank you all for joining us out there on YouTube Live. It was cool doing it. We had 7-8 people out there, which that's a little bit more than the people that were asking us to do it. So hey, if you like it, let us know.
That's pretty cool.
We'll keep on doing it and keep hanging out with you live. So with that, y'all take care. We'll catch you next time.